This is episode 22 of the Generational Podcast, and my name is Owen,
And I'm Steven.
and we're, father and son, so Generational Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that this is the 22nd episode?
Yeah, we just said it, right?
22 veterans killed them?
Oh, yeah, well, they
not
have the
veterans,
22 a day. So veterans, yes, commit suicide. I did a...
Considering that Memorial Day is tomorrow.
Yes, and, it's one of those things that some people never come back. And they never come back mentally either.
Okay.
And those people to me, those people that have fought suicide here were lost in the war over there as well. So it's important, our episode 22, and it's important for Memorial Day to understand that, veterans have a day, and then this is the day to remember those who didn't come back. And then also you learned from angry cops, but I think you knew it before.
I know that you
about coins, right?
Yeah.
You knew about coins from angry. You knew about that before angry cops, right? I think we talked about that before.
Yeah, it was because you were part of the Veterans Association at ESU. So when you were there, you would always tell me different hints and everything that was going on around me. Because you didn't keep any lies from me.
Traditions and everything, yeah. Well, I think as a parent, it's really important for me not to keep lies from you, but to expose you to the hard truths of life. And,
the first time you told me about putting,
Well, first, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What's your thoughts about suicide? Because
I don't think that you should do them because you're, killing yourself first off. And I don't think that it's a good way to go out because you're putting damnation upon yourself when it comes to Christianity.
Okay, so let's step away from the Christianity for a second. Let's go on the personal side of things.
Personally, I would say that suicide is not the best option because it hurts those around you.
Yeah.
And it's better to live life and just not dwell on the bad things that occur and stay as happy as you can because what else can you do?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we all have times of weakness. And I think you know that. You've had personal, between me and you, we've had our
ups and downs.
And I mean, he's this kid, they have that saying now, you see it on Instagram and stuff. It's like, I wouldn't be here without you type of thing. And I really wouldn't. He literally, God's and him saved me. And that's something that, I wasn't thinking at the time because I was in a very bad place.
Okay.
And you knew what was up. I never keep things from you, but you let me know when I was in my bad place, like I'm here,
So,
and that was there. So if somebody, I thank you. I appreciate that, son.
You're welcome.
You saved your dad.
My question is, do you have a message for veterans who are, on the way to committing suicide?
Or thinking about it.
Yeah, do you have any words for them?
It gets better. Life gets better. Find someone you can talk to. Find somebody you can confide in, that you can cry. Because crying is good sometimes. As a man, sometimes we got to let it out. We just don't like to do it in front of people. We don't like to admit we do it either. But I think a good cry, a good scream, punching a bag, getting it out is important. Find something that stabilizes you. For me, it's already, we train a lot.
We do.
And what do you think about that? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Hang on a second. So for that, guys, get into training, get it out. Find somebody you can talk to that'll listen. That's not gonna try and talk about themselves. It's just gonna listen and be like, well, maybe you should think about it like this, or you can get through the next day. And then get something that you're looking forward to doing next. If it's a YouTube video, if it's a podcast, if it's mixed martial arts, if it's range shooting, find yourself something that's going to occupy your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But then don't leave your thoughts just to lay. You have to talk to somebody. So communicate is my best advice.
I think that's good advice.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So what were you going to ask me there?
I was going to ask you about...
No, it was something about training. So.
Yeah, what do you think about training now? Like, we've done... it's been 2 months solid now. And this is the first time for 2 solid months that we've done, like, rigorous training. This is not like... We haven't been, excuse my language, but we haven't been pussyfooting around.
Mm-hmm.
I've been putting you over the coals. I've been raking you over the coals a little bit. Because I felt that you needed to feel the heat. Mm-hmm. And you needed to learn how to survive the fire.
Right.
And I noticed in wrestling that you were having a little bit of
I did have an issue.
An issue with controlling that passion. And I think you're moving right along. But I want to know, like, you've been able to submit me, which is pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You get to submit the old man? Yeah? Get him to go tap. I mean, we were just doing techniques. And I was like, I'm about to see Jesus. I was like, oh, and he's like, Dad, you're supposed to tap. I was like, it's hard when you have that. I show him like once or twice, and then he just slaps it on perfect.
I would say that
seeing the white light,
giving someone else not the opportunity, but having that person have the power to knock you out and kill you, and they're supposed to pretty much stop after you tap. And I noticed that sometimes in life you just have to not let it go, but I would say trust in people next to you and around you, and understand that if you have a bond, they're not going to break it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need someone like that to help you out in life. And through martial arts, I noticed that I could definitely trust my dad, even with my life.
Of course, I would never. That's another thing is like, you have learned that when you're getting you can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
You have to slow it down. You have to concentrate. You have to think about your steps. You have to do that. Because in life, there's going to be times where things happen to you and maybe it's a death. Mm-hmm. Unexpected death. And it's going to make you like you can't breathe. And you have to think about, okay, I can deal with this from now, right?
You can go to someone you know and talk about it.
Yeah, you can do that too. And I think it's wonderful because the progression of what you've been doing, and then I'm excited because I get to pass on to you stuff that I've never passed on to anybody that I've trained with before. Mm-hmm. And these are my insider secrets of in Japan and stuff. And then you're learning the moves that I learned, and then who I've learned them from.
Now, this is exciting because I wanted to know, what are some fighters that you train with?
Okay, like I don't want to miss anybody.
All right.
Because
you might miss a few people.
There's a lot of pros that are Japanese, and some of them are from other countries as well.
All right. To make it easier, I want you to name a person, name the gym, and...
the gym is going to be even harder.
If you can't do gym, just name the person and how long you worked with them.
Okay. The first time I ever, worked with pros, mm-hmm. I would have to go through, it was Kato mm-hmm. at a rodeo-style gym. Then it was Hikaru... gosh, it's hard for me to remember all the pancreas guys, and this is what gets me in trouble.
You don't have to remember pancreas; you just have to.
And then the guys that I considered after the pancreas training and after the rodeo style training, the guys that I considered my family home mm-hmm. at rodeo style, the guys were I want to go through. First is Katsumura, Shuichiro Katsumura. He's one of the first guys to ever pull off well, we have a ninja choke, but it was ninja choke from rubber guard in a fight, and he did it for a championship.
Okay.
Against Ueda, who at that time was a Shooto lightweight champion. That's the first time I started into ground slam gym from reversal. And what happened with that is I met Katsumura-san on a subway. And I had just left Pancreas because a guy named Asaki Honda slammed me in practice.
Okay.
And this is I told you about the slam that I had before. That's when I first started. So I knew you couldn't slam in practice at this time. I took his back. We had just put the mats, cushion mats on the wall at Pancreas, and like I had him in my guard, and he tried to pull a can opener. A can opener is when they stick their forearms in your chest and they pull up on your head, and it basically you crunch. It's like a neck crank, and it's like you choke.
Did you go like this?
Yeah, it's a choke. So what I did was I grabbed an arm here and I knocked it to the side, and then I arm dragged him and I took his back, and then he stood up and I sunk in the choke, and he took 3 or 4 steps, and this is right at the end of it, because in the middle of it he was slamming my head with the can opener up against the wall, trying to get me to like tap, but I opened up my legs, and then because the can opener works really well if the guy stays in guard, but if you open up your guard and you shuck those hands to the side, you can arm drag, and I arm dragged it, and I took his back, and it was like the last maybe 8 or 9 seconds, and I had the choke in, and he took 3 steps, and you got to understand, Pancreas is also pro wrestling, right? So they do pro wrestling shit. You're going to get slammed sometimes, but I wasn't in the ring, so if you're not in the ring and you're on a mat and you get slammed, it's a little bit different. The ring has some give, especially wrestling rings. They've got like spring.
Right.
But
you have boards underneath. Boards underneath that can help.
Yeah, exactly. And then, well, this was just a mat. Well, he took like 3 steps, jumped in the air with me on his back, and landed. Oh. And then I kept sinking in the choke even after the bell rung.
Because you were mad.
But then, as I couldn't breathe.
Oh.
And I started automatically like I couldn't. It hurt. And it was bruised ribs. I didn't break my ribs. I had bruised ribs. And you knocked the wind out of me pretty good.
So after that, you said you
met Katsumura.
Okay.
I was that night. I was on the train. It was like fate. It was so strange. And I was on the train on the way home, and I saw Katsumura, Shuichiro Katsumura. If you don't know who he is, he's freaking awesome. Real tiger mask, great technique. The guy's a great guy, wonderful person. Can't say enough good things about him. He saw me on the train. And I saw his ear. And I was like, you fight? He's like, yeah. You don't know who I am? And I was like, no, but we're like the same size. And he's like, you should come to my gym. So then I was like, okay. And it took a couple of weeks for me to like heal up a little bit, but I was still like running and doing my stuff. And I showed up at the gym 15 minutes before everybody was there. Like, because, military, if you're 15 minutes... If you're on time, you're late. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. And I'm sitting there, and then he pulls up, and he's like, "You're here?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Go in and stretch." So I was in there stretching, and like, no joke, the first guy that walked in was Cal Uno. And then I was just like, okay, this is gonna get wild, because he was the lightweight champion of the UFC, the first lightweight champion of the UFC, actually. Okay. BJ Penn took it from him, but that was a savage fight. BJ Penn's a savage. But anyway, so he walks in, and I'm sitting there, and then, next thing, Takeya Mizugaki walks in. And I was like, oh, he's in the UFC right now. And then the next thing, BJ Kojima walks in. He's the #1 lightweight of Shooto at the time. In the world, ranked in the world. Him and Mamoru was going at it. Mamoru, the Afro guy. I trained with him too. He's a savage. Muay Thai is sick. And then then the next guy that walked in was Hideo Tokoro. They call him the poor fighter. Freaking awesome guy. I love that guy to death. Right? And I think Omigawa came in after that. And then that was like, and then Leon Takeshi came in. and Leon was like the featherweight champion at the time.
Okay.
And these are all number one guys, or in their like aspects, or on the way to the UFC, or former UFC guys, or Pride guys. And I have to do pro sparring with them.
So on your first day, did you get beat a lot? If you still remember.
No, they invited me back. I didn't. I'm not going to tell you everything because it's not really polite to talk about it. I can talk about the things like when I got hurt, things like that, who did it. But those were the first guys that were there, and then it just from there on it just started to be more guys. Hellboy Hansen came in, Celine Haga came in, Roxanne Modafferi ended up coming in. There were just this, and then like Kunioku. There were so many guys that were in Dream and Pride that came in, and it was like,
and I went in.
Yeah, you were there. Who was it? Akio. They call him Wiki.
Okay.
Wiki's a really good guy, artist. Check his stuff out. He's an amazing artist over there. And then Omigawa and Wiki were there. Then I started kind of. Then some more guys, legends. I mean, it's hard for me to go through everybody's name, and the legend, one of the guys that lost his eye, in Dream, or not Dream, Pride. It was like the first Pride. It was illegal. He lost his eye. Legend, Paestra owner, I think, and he came in. I got to roll with him. There were so many people that I got to learn from. And it was just amazing. And then their teachers came in, and their jiu-jitsu teachers came in. It was just a family of, it felt like we're just all there to just train together. And it was wonderful. And I loved it, man. I just want to get back to that.
Want you know a little bit of my perspective?
What would you think about it? What did you think about all those times?
I remember learning about boxing and kickboxing and submissions because I saw you teaching them and being taught some of them, and I'll watch you roll for hours. And the best thing is that room was small.
Yeah,
really small compared to gyms that are here that aren't doing as well. And I'm so shocked because it was, you just said,
doesn't matter the size.
It doesn't matter the size, but the encouragement and the vibe. That's what matters inside the gym.
And it was like Katsumura-san, the way he taught and the way that I try to teach is like, it doesn't have to hurt. It does hurt. Don't get me wrong. Fighting hurts. But it doesn't have to.
Right.
I can teach people without them having contact, like hard contact. That's not a problem. It's just when you mix the crowds that want the hard contact with the people that don't want the hard contact is when you have a problem. And that's when you get the people that don't want to have the hard contact quit. Right? Not everybody wants to be a fighter, but everybody wants to be in shape.
So you always have different classes and different levels, like white belts to black belts, right?
No.
And different classes for them.
The white belts, black belts, everybody was together. What was different is that there were classes that were set for people that didn't want contact, like that didn't want to get punched in the face. Like you want to learn stand up, but you don't want to get punched in the face.
Right.
You can still learn
with people who want to get punched in the face.
It doesn't work out. So we would separate. So like most ladies want to do things to stay in shape. They want to learn it for a self-defense technique to know it, but they don't want to get punched in the face all the time. Nobody ever wants that, right? So you have to kind of cater that to those people. So that was one thing that I learned from him, that it was just very, it doesn't have to be hard, right? But, you need to understand that at, the levels.
Well, for me, I had to understand, my thing is I have to understand how it feels before I could actually learn it, because if I don't feel it, I don't understand it.
And you don't know how hard to go, huh?
Yeah, because whenever I go through a move, right, like an arm bar or a wrist lock, when I understand that pain, I could see it in my brain and make a 3D model and be able to know how much pressure I'm supposed to put in, like you just said.
Yeah, it's. I think one of the things that we catch ourselves doing anytime we're learning something sometimes is we try to overthink things a little bit too much.
Yeah.
We over-exaggerate things, especially with martial arts. it's a technique for a reason, and it's not over exaggerated. It's precision. It's steps. It's moving slightly to the side to slip a punch instead of like wow. You see guys. You think, what are you doing? It's not fucking dodgeball, man. You're not getting a ball that big getting thrown at your head. You don't need to
The ball's only about this big.
Yeah, it's what 3-4 inches across maybe. That's about it, and you just have to barely slip that. So it's just, and then having to understand the different styles of learning too.
Okay.
Because everybody learns different. You pick up things quickly. I don't have to break a whole lot down inch by inch for you. I can be like, here and here, and you picture it and do it. Some people I have to like break things down slowly for.
I noticed that in the wrestling room too.
Yeah, but everybody learns different, and then if you're teaching, you have a different learning style. But then everybody fights different too, because you might have somebody. I can get somebody that I know that is that way, technique wise, and I can be in there and tell them something. And then I get somebody else that's just amazing guru. So there's like, you have to learn to coach the two different styles too. Because you have the guy that's the maverick, and then you have the guy that's conservative. You have to learn both their styles of fighting, and then how they counteract with different styles.
And how and why they're going to listen to you. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, what do you think my style is?
I would say my dad's style is everything...
No style.
Yeah, no style. Like
no
water.
style. No style.
No style.
I've picked things up. If you've noticed, we've done kung fu stuff. We've done karate stuff.
Right.
Kyokushin karate stuff. We've done Muay Thai. Lots of Muay Thai. Right. We've done wrestling. We've done judo.
Yeah, we've done submission wrestling.
Lots of submission wrestling. She wants to go outside.
Taekwondo.
Yep.
We also done, like you said, Muay Thai, and then
we've wrestling big time.
Wrestling big time.
Yeah, and submit like
professional wrestling falls too, where
yes.
you learn how to fall forwards, backwards, left, and right.
Yep.
Because if you post down when you fall, you
break.
got a chance of breaking everything that you're posting down on.
Wow. You learn how to fall is the one thing that they taught us in Pancreas, and they taught us also they taught us WWE stuff too. So I learned like the Boston Crab, how to throw the Boston Crab up and stuff like that. I mean, and I also learned how to, get hit and fall.
The pile driver.
Yeah, like literally, yeah. We had times like that about, it was maybe once or twice a month when I was in Pancreas, and we would do like, you saw us do it at Ground Slam.
I saw you do it.
Because Katsumura-san is a pro wrestler. He's a
or Ground Slam now.
Tiger Mask. Did I say Tiger Mouse? Ooh.
Tiger Mouse. Whoa,
no,
Dad.
No, Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse, I wanted to say big props to the number one fighter in the world. Mighty Mouse, you don't get paid enough. I wish you would get paid more. Because he surpassed pretty much almost every fighter out there so far. And I think he's a bantamweight.
Okay. Since you're a professional fighter, right?
Yeah, I haven't fought in a while.
Yeah,
I like the fact that you're still calling me that. I haven't retired either, but not officially.
Okay. How... I know that sometimes people try to set up fights, right? Between you and someone they know. Has that happened to you before?
Oh, yeah. Lots of times. So, I don't fall into the trap anymore. There's always... there was... Gosh. Yes. So, there's been times where I have been offered a fight. They knew I was not well. So, that's the reason why they had me in there. And then, I've had the gym invites. That's one thing I don't really do anymore. You know that. I don't do the whole gym hop thing because invites end up, because I'm still active. Invites are a test ride for somebody, and you know me, I don't do any free rides.
Right.
I don't do that. And then if you do get a free ride, you're getting a hollow shell of what I'm actually going to do.
Right.
So
even then, they know your proportions now, how far your reach is. So there's
it's a dirty game. I've been invited to gyms, and then they knew a certain way that I sweep. So then that opened up a choke. So then all they did was teach their guy that one choke, waiting for me to pull that sweep because they got a free ride.
What about friends or people trying to set up fights in that aspect?
Yeah, that happens too. So that's another reason why I usually don't go out anywhere, is because people will like, they'll find out somehow or another that I fight. I don't always tell people that because it's not the first thing. It's not important for me to tell somebody, oh, I'm a fighter. That's like, I've gotten past that. Maybe at first, when I first started, I wanted to tell everybody. Now I don't tell anybody because when they hear that I'm a fighter, they try to set some dumb shit up with their friend at a party, or, oh yeah, and then I'm stuck going to a party, and now all I want to do is have a good time, but now I can't have a good time because some drunk dick is like, oh, you fight, let's do this, let's do that. It's happened one too many times to me, and I want to get paid. So if I have to get on somewhere, I want to get paid for what I'm doing. If you're not talking to me about big money, I don't want to do it. Okay. And I don't want to go somewhere and do something. I don't want to get in a fight. I don't want to get sued. I don't want none of that shit. I'm not a fucking criminal. I don't need to do shit like that. And if I'm going to go street fight, and don't get me wrong, I have done it for my lady. I've done it for my wife. I've fought, right? But I'm not going to sit there and be injecting myself into a situation where I could get hurt.
Okay.
It's just too bad of a chance, you know what I'm saying?
For me, I stopped telling people that I do martial arts as the first thing that they know about, because they usually don't believe me. And then I start to get a little bit irritated because I'm an honest person.
Yeah, you've been doing it for a long time.
So
on and off. We haven't been doing it. We haven't been doing it like, we've been doing it on and off. Right? When you're not wrestling, then we learn some things together. We always do stand-up. We've always kept our stand-up. We haven't done submission wrestling because...
because... Wrestling.
Because I want him to excel at wrestling. So I stopped doing submission wrestling and I let all of his coaches just pure wrestling. And he's good at wrestling. You're really good with the top pressure. Now, you came to me and asked me,
how do I get over my fear of, not my fear, but my anger issues when it comes to being on the mat? And you told me you have to know when it's life or death.
Yep. And then you also have to realize that your anger issue on the mat isn't just part of it, but you also need to realize that some of these wrestlers out here have been doing mixed martial arts, and you referees out here, all of you referees in all states, need to realize or study on submissions, because some of these guys that are...
Oh yeah, they're definitely using submissions.
They're using submissions. And I have to teach him how to defend those submissions now, so he doesn't get KO'd on the mat, put to sleep.
And I've been put to sleep before by guillotine on a wrestling mat before. So...
Did you win?
I still won.
All right.
I woke back up and I was like, oh, okay, he put me in a guillotine, because I knew the move because you taught me before. So what I did was I reached for the leg, reached for the head, and I slammed it on the floor and pinned him when he still had the guillotine around me. Because I didn't even think guillotines were allowed in wrestling until that happened.
They're not.
They're not?
No.
The ref never stopped them.
Yeah. Well, the thing is you can still choke from a chin strap, right? But you're not allowed to lock.
Oh, he was... Oh,
but did he have an arm in?
He did not have an arm.
See, then the ref should have called that. And that was, that's another thing is like, there's a lot of dirty stuff going on with some of the refs, and you're my son, so there's people out there that don't like you already. We know who it is.
Yeah.
Right. We know one of the people that doesn't like it, and to that guy, you're a wrestler.
I actually saw a college wrestler online tap someone out, but they just fell asleep and he landed them on the floor. It was really weird. I don't even think it was college. I think it was Olympic. And they were getting ready to choose the people to go into the Olympics. And in one of those matches that I saw online, it was a short clip where a guy was getting choked in an anaconda choke. Right? And he just fell asleep right after, and I was like, oh, he's out.
So I think you're allowed to do kind of like an anaconda,
But because it's one arm in.
But one arm's in. But it's still a choke. And you need to realize that that's easy to get out of if I've taught you how to get out of it.
Right.
So it's really simple. It's not hard.
And you can even slam them in the process.
You could do a lot of things, right? So, that's one of the things that can be done. There's a lot that you can try and do. And it's going to come slowly. But right now, I'm just really impressed with the way you moved today. We had an hour session, and our hour sessions are... we don't stop.
No, we don't.
We don't stop. It's a tap, keep going, we don't even do a pause for break. So, and we're in a hot garage in the middle of Florida. But you're getting so good at moving now. And, I really think that it's very exciting, and it feels wonderful. I'm very proud to watch you grow doing that. Even though it's just me and you and nobody really gets to see it yet. There might be a time when you can go do some submission wrestling stuff or something like that.
Okay. I have one advice for people who like playing games, right? But their parents tell them that they're always sitting down and playing games. If you really like playing games and you like the finishers in games, right? Do martial arts. It'll make everything a little more fun because you're staring at the screen and you're like, oh, I know I could do that.
I know how to do that move. Yeah,
I know how to kick that high.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's really important to have something as an outlet. And I'm very happy that we get to bond doing that. And I'm I'm down how many pounds? I'm still at 177.
Well, I'm down about 16 pounds, so...
You're supposed to be at 160, right? How much do you weigh?
I weigh 154.
You wrestle at 160.
I wanted to drop a division or two.
Yeah, you were talking about how you wanted to really slim and get Bruce Lee tone.
But not too much Bruce Lee tone where I'm not eating. I still want to eat food because I love food.
Oh yeah. What's your favorite food, by the way?
I would say my favorite food is Japanese traditional ramen at those ramen shops where you're supposed to buy the ticket at not inside the store. You're actually supposed to buy a ticket outside the store in a vending machine. And when you click and you get your ticket, you're supposed to hand the ticket off to the person who's cooking and watch your food being cooked in a matter of 20 to 10 minutes.
It's pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
10 minutes.
10 minutes right about. And it smells so good in there. And everybody's just slurping because it's Japanese tradition. If you don't slurp, it means that you didn't like the chef's food, so you gotta slurp.
You gotta make it loud.
Because when people are in there,
people are like, oh my god, really? Yeah.
Yeah, because when you go in there, you're like, oh, the food must be good. So that's
you can hear them slurp
that I miss. What's your food that you miss?
What's my favorite food, or
in Japan. Let's just put it in Japan.
Oh, you want me to put it there?
Mochi?
No. Mochi's good. And ramen down there.
Ramen だよ、それは。楽しいね、それ。
チャーシューだよね。
チャーシューもいいね。
ポークだよね。
I miss all that food.
卵と。
I miss the
北海道ね。北海道もラーメンだよね。
北海道ラーメン is great.
美味しかっただよね。横浜はラーメンだよね。美味しかったね。
醤油ラーメン欲しい。
醤油ラーメンだよね。美味しいね。
Which is soy sauce ramen.
そうです。
Now, I know that people say that you can get ramen here from those little packets, but you're wrong.
I mean, you have to doctor that shit up, man. You gotta throw an egg in there. You gotta throw some pork in there. You gotta give it some life. Give it a little life, baby.
Traditionally in Japan, sometimes the houses would cook a stew for a whole week and then use it.
Yeah, well, it's a bone broth.
Well, it's a bone broth.
Yeah. So that's it would be there for the week. It started at the beginning, and then they cooks till the end. And they say at the end of it is the best taste because it has the most strongest taste.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really think that I really miss ramen. I miss Japan, period. I miss the camaraderie there. I miss my friends over in Japan.
Did you know that there are Trump supporters in Japan?
Oh, yeah. I know a lot of them.
I didn't know that they had protests going on in Japan and other countries like Europe. You don't see that on social media.
What are they protesting?
They're not protesting anything. They're actually advocating for Trump to become the 2024 president.
I don't think that's a bad thing at all, but I just
didn't know how.
I think Trump has the best intentions. I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead. That's fine. It always excites me to see that other countries are watching America like it's a show.
Because they are.
Because they are.
Because it is. That's like we're like the one big Truman Show out here, America.
I wonder what America's doing today.
Shout out to Jim Carrey. I know you're not crazy. You're just enlightened. That dude is enlightened. He's seen things we haven't seen probably. So
okay.
You got to give him his merit.
So recently online when I was surfing on the web, it talked about the prosecution of Christians in North Korea and China.
Oh, yeah, there's some 2-year-old.
Yeah, so that article was from 2009, right? And no, it's not fake. And these are from NGOs and defectees, right? From North Korea, and those stories actually come from them. And I would like it if people did research on the Korean websites because they actually show all the information that you get. Don't just look at. Okay, there's.
What about Korean Jesus? That dude was buff, bro.
He is buff.
What you mean now? They can't believe in Korean Jesus?
Okay, so this is what
I want my Jesus to look like Korean Jesus every day.
Ready?
Jacked.
This is what defectors said. Ready?
Yeah.
They said that the government encouraged all citizens to report anyone engaged in religious activity or in possession of religious material.
Sounds like Nazi Germany to me.
Such as Bibles, such as any kind of religion. What I mean is Buddhism and all that is outlawed, right, in Korea. North Korea. So the reason why is because it allows, how do you say it? Division, yeah, inside of their power that they have over the people. And we've seen this happen in China as well, where churches were being burned. I don't remember when, but it was around 2018.
See, this is an attack on Christianity and
other religions in general.
And other religions. So it's I think America's a great place because we get to have that freedom of religion.
And if someone tries to trample on it, well, you can talk about it and put it out there and get some views.
So, remember we talked about Women's Day.
Right.
We want to make it National Women's Day.
And you actually did the research where you figured out what day Budweiser stocks really fell.
It was the 25th or the 26th of May. It was one of the two dates. I think if we do the 25th of May, that means that next year, the holiday will fall on the Friday.
Oh.
So if we can push a national holiday, that's a 3-day weekend, y'all. And I'm down with a 3-day weekend next year if y'all are. I mean, I'm sure my wife would love that on Women's Day to be taken out and pampered.
I actually want to make posters for that day.
Really?
Yeah, because I always noticed that for Women's Power, there was always posters. I forget what the bandana, red bandana, right?
Yeah.
And during wartime, right? And I was like, oh, I would like to make posters like that to advocate for May 25th. And there are no holidays on May 25th or May 24th, and that's why we talked about this.
Or maybe it was the 24th, but it was one of those. I'll have to look again, but it's the 24th.
You talked about the 24th.
Was it the 24th?
Yes.
It might have been the 24th. 24th of May. Is what it was, because 2-4, and then 24, yeah, because next year 24. Yeah, that was the other reason. Yeah, you're right. So it was the 24th of May is when everything dropped out, so that would be a good day.
Yeah,
I think that would be beautiful.
So one of those days we'll figure out in the next few podcasts.
It's May 24th, 2024. It's a Friday.
All right. So
it's a Friday.
If you go to generationalpodcast1@gmail.com, and if you look at Facebook, Instagram, and or YouTube there, you will see posters and different shorts about this. So we hope that you can advocate it for us and make sure that there's more women's
representing it. Yeah, we need women to get behind this. This is for y'all. This isn't for us. Because we just feel that you should be more appreciated.
Understanding that current circumstances of other minorities trying to trample on
your rights, like women's rights, like stay out like the sports. We already dominate sports, men. Like the reason why we give women their own is so we can see who the best women in that sport are.
And that's something to be proud of as a woman.
As a woman.
It's not something to be proud of as a man.
No, because you're taking away from a woman.
Yeah.
You're not on the same level. It's just so sad.
Just by biological levels between testosterone and
bone density,
as including what was the other pheromone from testosterone?
Estrogen.
Estrogen.
Women have lots of estrogen.
Yes.
Men don't have. Well, some men do too.
Some men
bitches. Oh, bitch ass motherfuckers. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be cussing like that. I'm sorry, Sam.
That's fine.
I'm sorry. I had to get one out. I'm the bad one in this. You see this? I'm the bad one here.
So, people getting... So, what do you think about people getting prosecuted down in... Well, not down, but towards the West, in China and North Korea?
I think it's sad. I think it really is sad. I think at some point... they're going to come together and they're going to stand up and they're going to fight back against the regime.
And we've seen those protests occur in China before.
Yeah, so they're getting smarter. These people are getting smarter. And China wants to have that grip. The party wants to have the grip over the people.
And I think the person that needs to hear about this the most is Elon Musk, because he has Starlink. And he has in portions of his Starlink career, right, put free internet out in Ukraine before, so people can post and people can look into their phones, right, because 5G towers are down. So what I'm saying is, in China and North Korea, they can't represent themselves because they don't have a platform to represent themselves. So if you give them that platform, I think that there would be change and unity.
The only thing I have to say about that is you can agree that Elon Musk is a national treasure.
Yes. But he's only a national treasure if he helps the world.
He's been helping the world. What I'm saying to you right now is I think that Elon would be deliberately putting his life in danger if he did that. I also believe that China killed Abe. I believe that they paid that man to do it. I can't prove it. I could be talking out the side. I'm just talking out the side of my mouth.
Tinfoil hat.
Tinfoil hat. That was a tinfoil hat. I don't have a tinfoil one.
But it's fine.
But I believe that. I believe he was assassinated by China, and I think that that's a terrifying thing, because he stood up for the nationalism of Japan, and he was very serious about taking care of Japan and the Japanese people, and making sure that the Japanese people were protected. Your rights were protected as well. So it broke my heart to see him pass, because he was such a good prime minister. With that being said, China doing all that is horrible, and I think sooner or later it's going to come back on them. And I think that anybody trying to adopt China's ways that's a leader, it's going to come back on you even faster, because you don't have the control they have.
And I think that there has been times in history that control has been absolute, and they have been destroyed by people because they were sick of it. And like multiple times in history, I would say that the Declaration of Independence, that was a part of revolution, right? The French Revolution. There was also the killing of, Soviet leaders because they were in control. There were also times where I would say there's many times where political leaders have gained control over poor and middle class people, and they have risen and killed political leaders off because of doing so.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's going to come back to them, and I don't want to warn them.
Like I just did. I just, I don't like to see people die.
Same here.
And I don't like to see people get abused.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to see people get taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to see people get lied to, but it happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And when revolts happen or revolutions happen,
there's so much turmoil.
People die.
Right.
And not the people that you expect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you always think, well, it's always the kings sending the pawns to do the dirty work. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm not saying that being a pawn is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Because everybody is used in some way or another.
Right.
But I'm saying if you're going to be a pawn for a good reason. Mm-hmm. And it's got to be something you believe in with your heart.
And when you don't have religion or any kind of morality or compass or Confucianism, right, which is nationalism, but still you have ethics. Not ethics, but empathy.
Mm.
And religion helps with empathy, so getting rid of religion kills empathy.
Yeah.
And when you don't have empathy,
then you have an absolute power, right? You have just your way, you're the God.
And then it seems like you're not human anymore.
Yeah.
So getting rid of religion is a bad idea. And relaying that religion is important in anyone's life for good empathy is very real to me.
I think what bothers me most about the whole it's like what would they call it, like the emperor with no clothes mm-hmm. type situation. It's like they're making people practice things that they don't practice themselves. And that's being a hypocrite. Mm-hmm. So you have absolute control over people, mm-hmm. and you're making them abide by these laws, but you don't even abide by those laws yourself.
Communism.
So it's always good for the people at the top, and it's good for the people at the bottom for a short while until the money runs out. Mm-hmm. So then it gets real bad. But as that being said, did you hear about Shaquille O'Neal's new song?
No.
Yeah, dude. He came out with a song with hip hop, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, mm-hmm. in the background. He's driving a Mack truck, dude. It killed, bro. I want to listen to that while I work out. And you said last time that I said, what athlete would you have on? And you said respectfully Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, but what would you have?
Shaquille O'Neal, bro.
Shaq,
O'Neal. Yes.
Shaq Daddy.
Shaq Daddy, dude. I didn't want to call him Daddy, but Shaq Daddy's his name. Mm-hmm. Dude. Yeah, that man he is someone that I would like to, business-wise,
he is smart.
Whoa, dude! Why couldn't you be my mentor at 20, bro? Mm-hmm. I wanted a mentor then. That's a guy that I would love to be my mentor. He's a sheriff. He's done all these things. He's kind.
I became a super athlete. Helped everyone around me. Built businesses.
Dude, how talk about. I mean, God must have a stairway straight to heaven for that guy. That's all I'm saying, because the man has been living his life like how I want to, dude. I want to emulate living like that, helping people that's beautiful, man. And he's like, don't call me a celebrity. I don't like the C word. When he said I don't like the C word, all I heard was I don't like the C word, and I automatically thought the bad word. Mm-hmm. And he said celebrity, and I was like,
he's
like, are you a real person, dude? You're not that. You're not mean. Oh, gosh, you're so cool. That's such a nice.
I think that people like Shaquille O'Neal, Keanu Reeves, and I don't know who else from there. I would say I don't know about Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds is just hot.
Yeah. So I would say that Shaquille O'Neal and Keanu Reeves, that I know, they both still act like normal people.
Not just normal people.
Out in public.
Not just normal, because normal people don't do
they
things
aren't
like
normal.
that.
They're
exceptional people.
Yeah.
They're exceptional people. You're absolutely correct. They're very exceptional. They're kind.
They're empathetic, aren't they?
Not just, yeah. I mean, they're like a little guardian angel. I want to explain. Like I describe them as human guardian angels that will come into your life and help you. It seems like I heard Keanu went to somebody's wedding and he didn't even know him. He met him and it was like he's like, come to our wedding, and he just did it. It was just like things like that. You're being like a human angel to people. You're helping them out. That's beautiful. And
I would say being good pillars of society, right?
That's wonderful.
Really changes the world for the better. And I want other celebrities to follow in their footsteps, because I would follow in their footsteps to help other people.
Yeah, I would too.
And it just shows how celebrities can be good and how influence can do so much well in the world. But we just have to see them implement it. And arguing and yelling about it won't change anything. And the best thing is to discuss.
Yeah, or calling for somebody's head, or saying you want to kill somebody or something like that, and you're a celebrity, you're putting bad stuff out there. Right. You're not being the best you can be. And I believe that there's somebody out there, who's going to bless the right people at the right times. And I believe God will do that, but I believe that person will also say, you know what? God will speak to him and say, hey, let's do this. I think that's wonderful. And I love hearing stories like that. And I love seeing stuff like that.
And this is something noteworthy to news stations. Stop putting out so much bad material. Like, the world is so doom and gloom that climate change is going to kill us all.
Oh,
I would just say, talk about the good in life, because that's the best thing to do to make other people happy. You don't want people walking around saying that they're going to die in the next day. And
that's doom and gloom. It's a fear. Like we talked about, fear creates
attention,
and attention creates money for them.
But then that attention can come back twofold if it's bad,
or tenfold. It depends. Yeah, it's. I heard somebody got shot over some Trump supporter stuff not too long ago. Some guy was like, liberal leftist guy was crazy and shot a Trump supporter.
And those are news.
That's because
news is creating all that bad attention. Understand that we're still Americans.
Yes, we're all Americans.
We should still help each other, even if you're Republican or Democrat, because both sides matter. And I would say that the worst thing that I've seen about January 6th, right, is that no one talks about the Trump supporter that was shot by a cop.
Yeah.
And I just think that January 6th shouldn't be about a riot, but about people dying.
Yeah.
And as you see, I don't like all the bad news, because I wouldn't put out bad news. And bad news is, if you don't talk about the remedies for bad news, right? It doesn't change anything. It doesn't help out anyone. If you just say that the other side is bad,
I'm
right?
so proud of you.
without telling people to go talk to them and change their minds.
Yeah.
What's the point of talking about something that's been bad if you don't change something about it? You're not doing anything.
But isn't that the point?
That is the point.
If you don't do it,
that problem stays.
Yeah, and that makes some money.
And the thing is, this generational podcast is different, because we want stuff to change, and that's why we're so honest, and we like to give some kind of solution to the problem that we're talking about.
And if you guys could give us solutions, hit us up. You guys know the mail. I think we're going pretty much over. We usually only go to 32 or 42. I bet we're at 50 right now.
Good note. So.
Yeah, and it was a great conversation. I really appreciate you being honest with me on all your opinions and everything. And I really am happy that we've got this. Even though we don't have... I'm really happy with our 8 subscribers. 8's a lucky number. I know it's not a lot, but, thank you guys. We love you.
Hooray.
It's awesome. And I know I just thank you guys. Subscribe, share.
And we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.